Hi, I'm Mike with Craft Supplies USA, and today we're going to show you how to turn a crush grind mill. Crush grind mills are one of our most popular kitchenware projects. They have a very nice ceramic mechanism so you can grind pepper, salt, and dry spices. You can also adjust the coarseness by turning the wheel on the bottom of the mechanism. And having the adjuster on the bottom allows the shaft to be cut to any length. This creates all kinds of design possibilities, making the crush grind one of our favorite mill kits. Before we get started, let's go over the tools and supplies needed for this project. We'll need a chuck with 2-inch dovetail jaws, a revolving cone center, a jam chuck blank, a drill chuck, and Forstner bits in 15/16, 1 1/16, 1 9/16, and 1 3/4. For really long mills, you may need a drill bit extender as well. Additionally, we'll need spindle turning tools, sandpaper, finish, and a wood blank. Now that we have our supplies, let's get started. We're going to turn a mill with a classic shape. It's always best to sketch out the design on paper, saving you headaches later on. Using the dimensions from the sketch, select a blank that is roughly a 1/2 inch larger in diameter and 1 inch longer than your design. Let's start by mounting the blank between centers and rough turn the blank till it's round. Next, mark a line where the mill head and body meet, then part a 1/2 inch deep groove. This creates a nice visual separation of the mill parts, and I like to use a narrow parting tool here so the grain aligns nicely. Using a skew, we need to turn dovetail tenons on both ends of the mill body and the top of the mill head. Size these tenons to fit your chuck jaws. Label the ends of the mill body so we don't get mixed up. Then part the mill head from the body. We'll turn the mill body first. Mount it so the bottom is in the chuck. Then clean up the top end, making it slightly undercut. The undercut really helps the parts fit nice and tight later on. Now we'll drill halfway through the blank using a 1 1/16 Forstner bit. We find that drilling halfway from each end is the most accurate technique. Next, flip the blank so the top of the mill body is in the chuck. Then turn the tenon off the bottom. Again, make this slightly undercut. Starting with a 1 3/4 Forstner bit, drill a hole 5/8 inch deep. Use tape as a visual depth stop. It's a simple trick that works really well. Next, drill a 1 9/16 hole 2 1/8 inch deep from the bottom of the mill. Lastly, mount the 1 1/16 bit in the drill chuck and drill halfway through until it meets the other side. Now we need to turn a jam chuck to fit in the 1 3/4 hole on the bottom. It needs to fit snugly, so stop and test the fit frequently. Once the fit is right, mount the bottom of the mill body onto the jam chuck and support it with a revolving cone center. Now, grab the sketch and mark the major design transitions on the mill body. Now we can turn the mill body to its final shape. And it's okay if your turning's different from the sketch. Take your time and be mindful of the wall thickness. You don't want to get it too thin, or worse yet, turn through the side. Sand the blank working through the grits. I usually go up to 320. For finish, I like to use deft clear wood finish, thinned about 50% with lacquer thinner. It leaves a nice satin finish that's really durable, and it's food safe when cured. After several coats, I'll buff it out with steel wool and paste wax. Next, we'll turn the mill head, mount it in the chuck and clean up the end. Also, these parts meet up, so make sure it's slightly undercut so we don't have any gaps. Drill a 15/16 diameter hole 1 1/4 inches deep into the mill head, using tape as a depth indicator. Now we need to make a jam chuck for the mill head. I'm going to use the jam chuck we used on the mill body. Turn the tenon until it fits snugly in the 15/16 hole. Use the sketch to mark the end points, then bring up the tailstock while we turn the head to shape. When the shape is almost done, remove the tailstock and finish up the end with very light cuts. Lastly, we'll sand and finish the same way we did the mill body. Assembly is easy. Install the crush grind mechanism into the body and mark the shaft where it sticks out 1 1/8 inches from the body. Using a hacksaw, cut the shaft at the mark and file that end to a taper. This removes any sharp burrs and makes the head easier to install. Now we'll use epoxy to glue the mechanism in place. I'll leave the tabs on because the friction fit holds everything in place while the glue dries. Spread the epoxy on the mechanism body just above the shoulder. I'll put a thin layer inside the mill body as well. Finally, we'll glue the stopper into the mill head. Wipe away any excess glue so it doesn't create a gap between the mill head and the mill body. Once the glue is fully cured, fill it with spices, install the mill head, and give the crush grind a try. Well, that wraps up this project how-to. I hope you enjoyed learning how we turn a crush grind mill. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to check out our entire selection of kitchenware projects at woodturnerscatalog.com.